Hello everyone, my name is Ty and welcome back to another TDS video. In yesterday's video, I got my first impressions on the new skill tree update and literally spent over 400,000 coins on it. Today, I want to talk about what are the best skills in the skill tree and what skills you should focus on. Now, I would say that the skill tree is very expensive to max out. I've been hearing a lot that it costs roughly 1.6 million coins to max out all of the skills. And to unlock more skills, you have to upgrade your current skills. And that will get expensive as you try to unlock the rest of the skills. But ignoring the thought that it's really expensive, I want to focus on the skills you should actually upgrade. So this ranking will be from worst to best, and I will try to be as objective as I can. This ranking may be a bit subjective, because I'm sure there are skills you guys might find more useful than what I think. But let's start with the worst skill, Scholar. Scholar increases the drop rate of logbooks. Gameplay-wise, this doesn't make your game easier. It makes being a collector easier. If you really care to collect all of the logbooks, this is for you. Other than that, don't upgrade this skill if you want to make gameplay easier. Coming up next is a tie between Overheal and Fortify. These two skills accomplish the same goal of giving you extra base health. Overheal slowly goes over the limit, while Fortify gives you a set total base health pool. Now a better base health skill is Bandages. Bandages heals your base health a certain amount after every wave. I personally do find this skill a little bit better than the last two. But if you don't lose any health, this skill is useless. These next three are in the middle tier. Resourcefulness increases the amount of money you get from selling towers. An example to explain this skill: if you spent $9,000 on a tower, you will get $3,000 if you sell it. With this skill, you will get more money. Potentially a better way to get more money is Scavenger. With Scavenger, you will be granted 1.5x more rewards or money after killing a certain amount of money. This skill is kind of MEH. Same goes with this next one, Precision. Towers will deal 1.25x more damage after a certain amount of times enemies are shot. Again, nothing too crazy, but not horrible. Now, we're getting into the list where these skills are actually worth upgrading. Reinforcements increases your total placement limit. This of course scales when playing with more people, and this is a pretty solid skill, but I'm putting it this low because I believe most of the towers you use have some sort of placement limit. If this skill were to increase specific tower placement limits, this would contend for top 3 best skills. On a positive note, this skill is actually great when you're playing with others. Now, Accelerator is a pretty cool skill, because this decreases the cooldown on tower abilities. This doesn't contribute much to something like the Commander's Call to Arms ability, but to spawn the APCs is pretty solid. Next is Fight Dirty, which increases the duration of debuffs that are applied onto enemies. So debuffs like Burn, Shock, and Freeze last longer than normal. But since it's fair for enemies to receive longer debuffs, it's also fair for towers to receive shorter debuffs thanks to the skill Extreme Conditioning. Now, these next two skills focus on units, and beefed up minions increases their health. This doesn't do much for the units with low health like Humvees, but they are great for tanks and riot guards. But unfortunately, units like riot guards take a while to spawn in. Thanks to the skill Expanded Barracks, they will spawn in more often. And of course, this goes to all other units as well, like Crook Boss and Military Base. Now, we are approaching the top for skills, and kicking it off is Improved Gunpowder. If you thought Mortar didn't hit enough enemies, then this skill is just for you. Now, I will say this is potentially a little bit too high, because this skill only focuses on towers that shoot explosives. But it's really powerful, and it also just makes your game seem like a full-on war, if it didn't look like that already. Coming in at number 3 is Enhanced Optics, which gives a simple range boost to all of your towers. You might not think this deserves a high ranking, but a permanent 10% range buff is actually really good. Now, a very close second place is Bigger Budget. This simply lets you start the game with more money, but the skill above that is Stonks. With this skill, you would earn more money from wave rewards. For solo, this makes things a lot easier. When playing with other players, this makes things easier, but more importantly, manageable. And that is why I believe Stonks is the best skill within the skill tree. But what do you guys think? What do you think are the best and worst skills? Or do you want to nuke my house for this horrible ranking? Let me know in the comments below.